Hello, listeners. Welcome to another episode of Sound Connections, brought to you by Mainline Marketing in Winter Park, Florida. On today's episode, we talked with Kristin Wilson of our DJ Rocks fame, and it was a blast. She gave us some insight. She let us know all things music and what it meant to her, what it's like being and representing an all-female company in a space that is very dominated by men. It was wonderful, it was insightful, it was fun, and I hope you guys all feel and hear that from this podcast. So without further ado, here is Sound Connections, featuring Kristin Wilson of our DJ Rocks. We are back with another episode of Sound Connections. Kristin Wilson is our guest today. Thank you for joining me, I appreciate it.
What's up?
How are you doing? You feeling good?
I'm fantastic.
That's good. That's good. We've been chatting a little bit, so we've gotten to know each other quite a bit, but I want to pivot into kind of your wheelhouse now.
Okay.
I want to talk to you about DJ things. I want to talk to you about music. I want to talk to you about just all the things that make you you. So first, I want to start off with what should be an easy one, but will not be. What does music mean to you?
What? That's where we're starting?
That's where we're going to start.
Oh my God. I mean, what does music mean to me? It's the entire universe. It's what makes the world turn. I mean, you can play a song and it take you back to a certain point in time. You can play a song and it create a moment in time right now. It can change a mood. It can change an environment. It can make you feel. It moves every bit of your being.
So what is that? What song does that to you? What is that song for you? What is the one that you, if you gun to your head, they were like, what song makes you tick? What is one that means that to you? What would that song be?
Wow. Okay. So the way I'm going to have to answer this question is how I just commented on a Facebook post like 2 weeks ago. Okay. When someone said, what is one song that, this is like really morbid, but like what song would you play at your funeral?
Uh-huh. Shots. It's Shots by LMFAO, right? No? Okay.
No, not that one.
Oh, okay.
No, that's fine. We can have shots. But I think it was one of the Miranda Lambert ones. Maybe Bluebird or something or another. Like I have like life theme songs, but then I have like theme songs for like the right now. Okay.
So what was the one of the, I guess this will be a fun one because I can relate. What was the first album you purchased for yourself?
Ooh.
Mine was, I'm gonna rip the Band-Aid off here. It was NSYNC's debut album, NSYNC.
Stop it.
That was my first album I purchased with my own dollars.
Did you ever go see them in concert?
I did not.
I did.
Missed opportunity.
I did. They performed at a Walmart.
Love it.
Yep, sure did. Justin Timberlake had he had the
crunchy hair?
He had the crunchy hair.
Ramen noodle hair?
Yep, he sure did. And I waited in line for like 5 hours in the layaway section to get a signature.
And did you?
Oh, yes, I did. Hanging up in my office currently.
That's perfect.
Yes.
Crunchy hair, JT.
Yes.
JC, probably a little more talented, but not as good at marketing himself.
Correct.
Let's be real.
Yep.
I did see Chris Kirkpatrick in downtown Orlando, and he was there. It's Chip Skylark, so that was kind of cool.
In the full flesh.
My
first album, I think there was like 5 of them. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm getting these.
I'm doing it.
TLC, this is like so random. So TLC, Crazy Sexy Cool.
Love it.
Green Day.
Love it.
Dookie.
Oh, yes.
That was my second. The Fugees.
Oh, very nice.
I know. So like we're genres,
yes, you're spanning genres, decades.
Yes.
I love it.
I don't remember any others, but those are my first 3. My very first concert ever.
Okay.
In my whole entire life, I think I was like 4.5 years old, was New Kids on the Block.
Oh.
And I do remember when we were.
So boy band was like bred into you, essentially. You were.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's in the genes.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that, by the way.
I mean,
respect.
I do remember sitting in the stadium and, you know, they were doing things on stage and I covered my eyes and my mom was like, it's fine. It's just a boy band. And I'm like, I don't think it's fine.
We were all that way once. I actually can backpack off of that. I saw Green Day perform when they did the American Idiot tour. And that was one of my favorite concerts I've ever been to, because the band that opened for them was Jimmy Eat World. Love them. And they were touring their album Futures, which is one of my top 5 favorite albums of all time. And Billy Joe, at a certain point during the show, how can I say this in a PC way, puts his hand down his pants, and okay, I was 15, so I couldn't go by myself. My mother was to my left, and to the left of her was my dad. So I got to be a part of that at the age of 15.
Oh, that's fun. So when I was like 16, maybe 17, I don't really know what age I was, but you talk about an album that literally moved me, and like to this day, I'm like, how can I get on a plane to Vegas because I really want to see him again? Usher. 8701.
Okay.
Yep.
I mean, I don't want to brag, but Burn is my karaoke song. So I feel the Usher love.
Okay, but like also nice and slow.
It's all good. It's all good. All Usher is good Usher.
But Burn's fine too.
Burn is good.
Burn's good.
We like Burn.
I definitely hit record when he came on the radio on the cassette tape.
Did you the record and the play button so that the cassette would... Yep. I know that life. So many people don't know that.
Maybe I shouldn't have said that out loud.
It was back. Don't worry, we're past.
I also have records and albums too.
Yeah, you own it now.
All of it.
But like,
I have Spotify, I have cassettes, I have CDs, I have all of it.
If someone's gonna be mad at you for recording something on a cassette tape, they need to reevaluate some things.
Come at me.
Please. So at what point in your life did you kind of decide that the DJ route was something that you wanted to do? How did that come about?
That's crazy. Music has really always been a part of me. There hasn't been a moment that I can ever remember that music didn't help me through something or inspire me through it. And so, when I got to a certain point where I was in college, I was in the right place at the right time, and I asked the right question, and it was, can chicks do this? Because you look at an industry that is very male driven, and how am I to know any different? I don't know,
Right.
And so still my mentor to this day, he said, anyone with a great personality and great work ethic can do it. And so he took me under his wing and he trained me.
So that has led to where you are now. Do you want to do a little bit of a humble brag and let us know all about where you are now?
Oh man, I am so humble, but so grateful at the same time. I never thought that I would really be where I am. To be honest, it wasn't in the game plan.
Okay.
A lot of things happened organically, and I think if I look back now, it comes down to the cliche quote, your vibe attracts your tribe.
Okay.
I started doing weddings and I started doing events, and I needed help, and there were great humans around me that I said, do you need a part-time job? Because I need to pay you on the weekends. I need an extra pair of hands. They happen to be chicks, and then they got curious just like I did. And so, I trained, my first 3-4 DJs. And then after that, I'm like, clients would reach out to me and say, I really like everything that you're about. I love that what I believe in is the same thing that you believe in. Mm-hmm. Can I have you or someone on your team? And I'm like, well, I don't have, if I'm sold out, I'm sold out. And so, at a certain point in time, it did turn into a business. And I said, okay, is there a way that I can train someone to do the things that I do as long as they have great values and they believe the same things that I do? And so, it did. And we got to the point where we were doing 800 to 900 events a year. And that's wild to me.
That's insane.
That's wild.
That is a large number.
That's very large.
That's super duper large.
Yeah.
But that has to come in a point of pride. I know, of course, being humble all the way. I can say, having spent a decent amount of time with you at this point, very humble. Do not come off like someone who has a company that at one point ran 900 events in a year. But that is a feat in itself. And I kind of spoke with the Sound Girls about this in a prior podcast. What does it feel like to kind of have that legacy? What does it feel like to essentially be carving your name in this path, in this company, in this, doing all of this in your image? What does that feel like?
I come from really, really humble background. And I was never handed anything in my life. If we were on a whole nother podcast, I can tell you that whole story, but
you'll come back. Don't worry.
Yeah. I think for me, if we're getting really deep here, it's about creating opportunity where it didn't exist before for someone and people who didn't know that they could do it. So for me, that is females. Again, it goes back to, I want to be able to create something where if someone wants to, make a good living, love what they do, and still have that role of whatever that may be, whether that's wife, mom, friend, whatever, you can balance all that and still, lead a really great life. And so for me, it's about creating those opportunities, the same ones that I manifested for myself. I want to be able to show that to, the ones underneath me who don't know,
So was the plan always to go complete female client or complete female employee? Was that the goal from day one, or was that something that kind of manifested itself over time?
It definitely manifested over time. I never wanted to have employees. Like, I went to school for sales and marketing, and I absolutely love marketing. I love creating and, just the excitement of sharing with people the things that we do.
Right.
And so I didn't want employees, but then I found really great people and I'm like, oh, cool, you could do this, So it definitely evolved over time, for sure.
So what is a point in time that you hit in this process of creating this company that you were like, oh crap, this is a thing. I'm onto something here. At what point did you kind of get in that vein?
I'm laughing because I really want to say like yesterday. Maybe I'm onto something.
I mean, yesterday was a good time.
I don't know. Every day I'm like, what am I doing with my life? No, but like on the real, it was probably about 5 years in where I was like, oh, okay, Kristin, like you really need to get it together. What are we doing here? Are we going to build a business model out of this? Like, is this what you're doing for the rest of your life? Because when I went from my corporate job that had disability and insurance and all the things, and then I just threw that out the water and I was like, okay, I'm doing this. This was supposed to be the bridge that got me somewhere else, because in my mind, I had always envisioned myself being in New York City in the highest skyscraper in the corner office, being like CEO of like an ad agency or something. And so this was just supposed to be the bridge. And allegedly it's not the bridge.
Apparently it's not the bridge. It
is what I'm supposed to be doing. So that was about 5 years in.
Okay. So you say it's what you're supposed to be doing. Has your perspective switched? Has it changed? And what kind of initiated that?
Ask me that question again. What do you mean?
So when you just said that this is something that you should be doing, is it something that you felt before that this is, like you said, a bridge? When did that switch flip in your head that went from this is something that I can do to this is something that I should do?
So let's go back to kind of that 5-year mark. A lot of things started happening and really appearing in my life that was like, okay, like the validation, right? Like clients were like, oh my God, you are amazing. And I'm like, wait, I am? Like
I'm good at this?
Wait, you're like what I'm doing. Okay, cool. Then I'm going to keep doing it. Team members that joined, they were like, oh my God, you're the best boss I've ever had. Wait, what? I don't know how to be a boss. So, okay, I'll keep doing this. So there were multiple validation points along the way that I was like, okay, maybe I am doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And I remember when we planned our 5-year anniversary party, I was like, okay, we need a theme, we need some sort of like theme. And I came up with the concept Love Lead Excel, which is loving what you do, leading by example, and then excelling at all of it. So just slay,
blowing it out of the water.
Just blow it out of the water.
Love it.
And so that's something that I still live by to this day. And it's funny because I thought that would be like the 5-year theme, but that is literally turned into Kristin's whole entire life.
If you had to summarize the company, is that how you would, is that
yes.
your slogan?
Yes.
Per se?
100%. Like, love what you do, lead by example, and then just slay.
Is that something that you would bestow to employees coming in? Is that something that you would bestow to anyone in any capacity? Is that where where have you kind of trialed and errored this thought, I guess, thought for your company?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a hashtag. It's something that we infuse in our mission and vision. We infuse it in all of our core values and things like that. And it really is just something that I lead my life by. So whether it's my employees or whether it's my business partners or the industry that I educate, whether that's the DJ industry or the wedding industry, I just try to live by that motto and inspire people to do the same.
Do you, because of where you're at now and because of how big your company has gotten, do you get to do any more of that sales and marketing stuff? Do you still get to scratch that itch?
Oh yeah. All the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
And it's great.
Yes.
You get the best of both worlds.
I do. I really do. There was a point where, we were going to start building a layer of management, which I was okay with, but then the world kind of changed, which I think for me, it came at a really great time because it allowed me to look and say, reevaluate, okay, where do I want to go? Where do I want to be? How can I be the best version of myself for everyone that's in my world,
right.
And so for me, I love being able to touch little things, whether that's I'm doing it myself or I can really have a one-on-one conversation with whoever that is, So
you referenced the elephant in the room, and I will backpack off of that into, so COVID was a thing.
A major thing.
Yeah. And it seems like live events are kind of the lifeblood of what you do.
Not kind of, they are.
Definitely are. Yeah. I undersold that a little bit. I was hoping.
It's fine. I got you.
How did you adapt in that moment? At first, did your hair kind of go on fire and you were running around like a little bit, or what was that process like? That buildup of, it's not a thing, it's not a thing, it's a thing. Oh my God, we're locked in a room together for a year and you can't go anywhere.
For me, I definitely have the personality style of, I don't panic first.
Okay.
So for me,
that's good.
For me, it was living in every single moment in time. So I don't want to call it denial. I want to call it real reality, where I was literally locked into the news because I'm like, the phone's going to ring in the morning and I'm going to have 30 clients asking me questions. I need to have more information to be able to help guide them to the decision they need to make that's best for them. Right. So I'm turning into a news anchor and, not that I want to call it a meteorologist, but a medical whatever, So I gathered up, my medical board of advisors, and every single day I remember in the living room, okay, what are we saying? What's going on today? Where are we at today? Update. Definitely stressed me out every single day. But every morning I'm like, okay, I got to get up 7 a.m. because the phone's going to ring. They're going to ask me questions. Do I have the wedding? Do I not have the wedding? Are we having this event? And it was a constant evolution of change, I'd have people in Florida, New Jersey, Chicago, all across the U.S. being like, what are we doing? Whether they're in live events, weddings, or whatever. And so, I kind of just took leadership on that to get in the trenches and just figure it out. I think I really hit, I'm going to be honest. I'm such a positive person, but I really hit a low in September.
Okay.
September was like my low.
Yeah. And you seem to be someone who's also an extrovert, and as someone who's also an extrovert, when you don't get that contact, it definitely, you're like, I want to talk to someone who's not you, like anyone else, and not a screen. I can't do screens anymore. I can't. So in all of that happening, how did you adapt? What did you do? What was your thought process, and how did you get to your end point, which is right now? And I think the world is opening again. I think weddings are coming back, and all of the good things.
We're celebrating. I'm posting it on Instagram. I'm not hiding it anymore.
Hey guys, guess what? The world is open.
The world is open. For me, it was changing my daily routine.
Okay.
And I'm talking like a major mindset change. It was no longer about, as soon as you open your eyes, check the email, get rid of the spam, because there was bombs in that email every single day. And so, for me, I had to wake up with gratitude. And so every day I would sit down and I'd write down, okay, what are the 3 things I'm most grateful for? right? And sometimes that was a struggle because like I had nothing today, bro.
The sandwich was really good.
I mean, if I even snuck a sandwich into my dungeon, more work than I have ever done in my life, more psychology than I've ever done. I picked up bike riding, being outdoors I'm not a Peloton girl. Not happening. I need to be outdoors. I need to see trees. I need to feel sunshine. I need to feel, rejuvenation.
Yeah, you need to get that sunlight. You're a plant person. You got to get the sun.
Maybe.
I'm not like that.
Anything green, I don't know how to water it, so I usually kill it. I have a brown thumb.
So maybe you're not a plant person, but you do like the sun.
Yes.
Okay.
I love the outdoors. So there definitely was a lot of that. And then I would time block anything that had to do with COVID or events because it doesn't matter what position you're in, it's all negative.
Right.
There was nothing positive about that in any way, shape, or form. It was a devastation from, a couple's standpoint, a family standpoint. There was pressure on our couples, even if they wanted to have the wedding. The family was all the opinions, the news would say one thing, or if like everything was fine, it was like the pressure from like what society would think if you did have the wedding.
Yeah.
I mean, so many psychological things that people were going through. And then for me, I'm like, I just need to get to 2022 because if I postpone your wedding, I still need to be alive when that comes around.
That's fair.
So that was extremely difficult to strategically figure out how am I going to make this mess balance out for 2 years? Because, for our couples, it might have been one day.
Right.
For us, it was 2 years. It's 2 years. I'm not getting out of this until 2022.
So you say get out of this. What do you mean when you say that?
It's the biggest financial crisis I have ever seen in my entire life. I don't wish this upon anyone. So
were you able to do anything in the meantime to be able to offset income in any way? Were you able to do did you guys go digital? What kind of things presented themselves? Okay, so yes and no. For us, we have always, we're not a giant AV company. We focus on DJing and photo booths. Photo booths, out of the question. You're not setting up a photo booth at an event. Don't even get near me. Can't touch. I mean, but we focused on special events. So there was no let me go virtual. We did, but we did it for promo stuff. Right. Thankfully the way we run our business is very legitimate. So I praise everything above every day for the PPP because that took care of payroll and that allowed us to get from, let's say like June to like January. Right. You know what I mean? It floated it to the point where our clients could still be taken care of because there's zero money coming in, but I can take care of employees to take care of them, Right. And then the second round of PPP came and thankfully that will get us through October, which I'm hoping that like October in Florida, busy season, we can float our own selves from October to December, and then 2022, I'm ready to just rage.
Let me guess. You spent hours researching that mic you just bought. You know all about whether it's a dynamic or condenser mic, what kind of EQ curve you're going to need, and where you're going to set it up. But when it came time to purchase your new mic, you just bought the cheapest cables you could find, right? Look, you wouldn't buy a Porsche and then stick budget tires on it to save a few bucks, would you? What are you doing with those cheapy cables then? To make sure your favorite mic sounds as good as you want it to, you have got to use Hosa cables. There's a reason they are the industry leader in providing a lifetime of dynamic and noise-free sound, with product lines perfect for any budget. So whether you need a cable for your mic, your guitar, or even video and data cables, make sure it's a Hosa cable.
So what is on the horizon? What have you guys had your first event back yet?
Yeah.
So how many have we done to this point? How many in a post-COVID world, quote unquote?
Goodness gracious. Okay. Well, in Florida, remember we opened up in June.
Oh yeah.
It wasn't a ton.
Right.
But
it was
like
smaller.
I have definitely done way more than so many of my peers, which, is terrifying, but I'm thankful because I can pass on the knowledge that I have from that. I honestly don't know the number.
That's fine.
Sorry.
I was just wondering.
But yeah, we've been doing them since June, and
which is awesome.
It's been great. And I'm also on the board for the National Association of Catering and Events.
Okay.
And so I've been able to use my experience from that to help create the Florida COVID guidelines for anyone else who's a part of that association so that they can create safe events too.
So let me ask a question that I'm sure is on every couple that is engaged on their minds. Are weddings going to be a thing this year and into next year?
Yes.
Are they going to be back to normal?
I think by 2022, 100%. I think there's still some hesitancy in 2021, especially through summer. But again, I mean, you're in Florida, it's hot, and then we hit hurricane season, so it's still the normal hesitancies in general.
Right.
I think when it comes to conventions and the corporate market, we're already seeing that the convention center is opening back up. So you're going to see a lot of consumer shows over the summer. And then once you hit fall, I mean, there's nothing like the connection of one human and another. So as much as virtual's not going away, because we've all been forced to figure it out, you know, maybe there's hybrid events and that's not going away because maybe we were scared of technology, but it's like, boom, COVID, you have to learn. Cool, now we know.
Yeah, so Zoom is a thing. I didn't know about that a year ago, but now
like,
I do.
There's nothing like the energy and the feeling when you are with another human. So people are going to rage.
People are going to rage. I agree with that statement. Everybody's been pent up for over a year. Everybody's looking for a reason. Yeah. And I think it's going to be crazy. And I think that benefits you in such a wonderful way, and everything that you guys do and how awesome it is. I do want to ask, what is your jam to get people going? What is it?
Ooh,
what's your go-to jammy jam?
Bro, that depends on the crowd.
Yeah, I know. Give me like a top 3 or something.
Okay, well, let's just go back to like last night. So last night, I DJ'd for an industry event, and I was like, ooh, should I do it? Should I not do it? Should I do it? Should I not do it? And they were already raging.
Oh, yeah.
But I love to sneak in things that people, or songs that like people totally forgot about. And then they end up like karaokeing it for like 45 seconds. And then the next day they're like, I can't believe she played that song. So like, let's go back to the first question you asked me on like my albums.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I totally dropped Usher's, was it You Don't Have to Call? It was from the 8701 album.
Okay.
Wild. Wild.
People lost it.
I also played a remix of Mbop.
Oh no.
That had like,
people love the Mbop.
Correct. So like, it was like the lyrics of Mbop, but like I dropped it in from like a hip hop song. So they were still twerking to Hanson. So that was really fun.
So what you're saying is you're an artist, and being a DJ, that's your paintbrush, essentially.
Yes.
So
I painted Mr. Brightside too. That was fun.
What did you paint Mr. Brightside with? That's a jam on its own.
Listen, like if I can get you twerking and dancing or two-stepping or singing at the top of your lungs, like I've done my job.
What was your first gig? What was the first gig you did, and how did it go?
Oh my gosh, it was the worst event ever in my entire life.
We can share, because I have a first event story that was horrific, and it was because of Craig.
It was in the middle of nowhere.
Okay.
It was at a VA?
Ooh.
VW.
That one. VA.
What?
Veterans Association?
One of those things. Yeah. Just like a random hall. At that point in time, it was only CDs. There was no digital.
Love it.
Yet. And
get it.
So all of their special songs I had burned on a CD.
Totally legally, you own them.
100. And when I got to the event and put the CD in to double check it one more time, allegedly the CD burner didn't work correctly. And so the first dance only burned half the song. And it was a Tim McGraw song. So I'm like, cool, let me find a Target or Walmart. Well, I mean, no internet.
Yeah.
And the closest Walmart was 30 minutes away. So when they got there, I asked the best man, I'm like, do you have this CD at your house? And like, can you go get it for me? Because I can't get this first dance to play. Anyways, we figured it out. We got it. Blah, blah, blah. Came back. Well, I had my setup on a table. I had 2 speakers on either side. Well, one of the groomsmen had gotten so intoxicated that he would not leave my DJ booth.
Oh.
He was hanging on it. And so
Great.
I'm like, this is all going to like fall over in a second. And at one point in time, it was going down. And so the speaker started to fall over. I had my headphones on. So these like flew off.
Great.
So I could catch the speaker.
Yeah.
So that it wouldn't fall.
Yeah.
Caught the speaker, got it up, broke the headphone thing, came back here, still made things happen. And by the end of that night, I think the cops ended up getting called because there was a fight in the front. Because like,
good times.
His girlfriend was like, "Why aren't you hanging out with me?"
Oh. All right.
That was wild. I never had to catch a speaker before.
As far as first gigs go, I think that might be one of the worst. Mine was just in a TGI Fridays because Craig went to Tennessee with his then girlfriend, now wife. And he was like, "Do you want to do trivia?" And I had never spoken into a microphone before.
Oh, that's fun.
So it was literally one of the worst experiences of my life. People were like, "Where's Craig?" And I was like, "Not here." And they were like, "Cool." And then they left. Yeah, so many people left. So many people. I got good at it eventually, which is why I'm talking to you in a microphone now, but it took a long time. I had like an RBF problem. It was a whole big thing.
Well, you got a really great inflection, so I'm proud of you.
Oh, thank you so much. I
Yes.
appreciate that.
Yes.
So I do want to pivot. I'm sure we'll come back to Usher and Gloria and Bruno, but I do want to pivot and start talking about how you became just a QSC monster. You are the face, the person, the one. How did this come about? How did this become a thing?
Totally organic. I mean, I absolutely love their products, period. And so as we started to build with DJs going out,
Right.
it was a no-brainer for me, right? And so I ended up with a warehouse of QSC things. I met some of the amazing team members at QSC at quite a few conferences. We just got connected. We had really great relationships, and they would see what I post. And, I'm not, "Oh my God, you have to buy QSC," whatever. It's just, if it's in the background of my photo and, whatever, they would repost it and we'd share, and organically I just talk about it. You know what I mean?
So where did you start from? Like, what was this? Obviously, we talked about the CDs, but where did you start from, and where are you at now? What does a regular setup look like for you? What does the upgrade look like, and what can people kind of keep their eye on if they're looking to upgrade their set? What QSC product can you recommend for someone that's looking to upgrade maybe a speaker or something like that?
Yeah. So, again, putting things into context, we do private events and weddings. And so typically that's anywhere between, 17 people to 300 people. And so for me, it's really easy to kind of interconnect any type of QSC product to any type of event. So here's what I mean by that.
Okay.
I have QSC 12s, I have QSC 10s, I have 8s, I have a CP10. So I have, I think, KW 181. So I have a multitude of their products. And so no matter what scale the event is, I can always bring in sound reinforcements no matter what the event is. So that makes it really easy. I think number 2, when it comes to QSC, there's always backup. So, when you look at the back of their console, you can hook up with an XLR out of your controller or your mixer. But, if you've got to do like a small little just like cocktail hour setup, where if you want to plug in an iPad or some sort of like AV source where it's just background music, you can do that with like an 1/8 inch or an RCA. Or if you're doing a ceremony setup, maybe you don't need as much bass and you can use one of their CP series. You know what I mean? It's not as heavy, but you've got the vocals, and again, you have as many inputs on the back as you want. So honestly, you can't go wrong. You can't go wrong with any of them.
Can you pick a favorite? What's your favorite speaker?
I really do love the QSC K12.2s.
Okay.
Yep.
What makes them your favorite?
So I love with them that it's got the fullness of the vocals, but it's got enough like oomph in the bass.
Gotta love a bass.
Yes, to be able to fill a room. If you wanted to take it to the next level, you could always take the QSC 12.2s and hook it up to a 181 and give it more bass. And so I like that versatility because, you know, there's a lot of venues that we do that are a little bit more intimate, and a 181 is too much.
It's going to blow it out.
It really is. And so, but if you go into a giant ballroom where there's 300 people and you really want it hot on the dance floor, yeah, you might should add the sub.
When you want to uptown funk it, that's when you plug in the 181 and you make it happen.
Yeah, I mean, or Cardi B, really, but yeah.
Cardi B. That's always a good one too.
Yeah.
So this feels kind of like a redundant question,
okay,
but I'm going to ask it anyway because we're talking about QSC and we're talking about the quality of the product. What does good sound mean to you?
That's like a great question. I feel like for me, great sound is a feeling, and feeling comes from my ears. That's so weird that I just said that, but I said it.
I saw the thought happen in real time.
Yes.
So anyone that's
you.
watching this visually, you might also see it. I saw it process.
Thank you. And so I want to hear the lyrics, but I also want to feel the melody and I want to feel the bass, because in order for music to move me, I need to feel all the things.
Right.
You know? And I've heard so many products where it's just like, I can't feel this. Like, what? It's why I don't like to listen to music on just my phone. My phone has to be hooked up to something so I can hear the audio. I want to hear the highs. I want to hear the mids. I want to hear the lows. So for me, it's about all of those, because you really want a full sound. Right?
I think that QSC should just take that and just put that behind anything that they
Done.
release
Yes.
from this point forward.
Yeah.
And there it is.
Yes.
I think that's done.
Yeah.
We just did that for them.
You're welcome.
They didn't even need to ask.
Yeah.
So I want to ask, what motivates you from this point? So obviously weddings are coming back, in-person events are coming back, and that's going to be great. And you guys will obviously get back to where you were. What motivates you to take this to the next level? What is that thing that is exciting you about the next steps? Or are you not? Are you happy with where you are? Do you want to cap it?
I think I always want something more, because I mean, if what's the whole quote they say, like, if you're not living, you're dying, right? And so I think for me it's great relationships, and it's helping other people. And so if I can help someone and someone can help me, and we can both strive to level up or ignite something in each other to do something more, whatever that means. There might not even be a dollar amount attached to that, but I think that what the world really taught us, and hopefully what it taught everyone, but what it really taught me, is that life is precious and tomorrow is not promised. And so what are you doing with your life today, and what makes you happy today? And so infusing that into every single day and then building upon that is what motivates me and excites me.
What is one of the weirdest things you've been asked to DJ that, like, you were like, this is going to be weird, but it was actually phenomenal and great and you loved it?
Oh man, I wish I could tell you stories of the answer to other people who have answered that question. I don't think I've really ever been asked to DJ
Nothing
weird
crazy.
things. I mean, probably, but I have such an open mind that even when my clients are like, okay, this is my vision, I'm just thinking, seriously? But then I take a step back and I'm like, okay, but that's their personality. And then I ask more questions and I'm like, okay, this is the vision. And even if it doesn't fit with what I'm used to or what I've seen before, I'm like, cool, I get the vision. And then we do it. And then I end it and I'm like, dang, that was like really good.
So how do you find that adaptability? You obviously you have it in yourself, but how do you find that in other people? What are questions, what are positions, what are things that you've asked that lead you to believe that people have that trait?
So like for my DJs,
right?
That's what you're asking,
Correct.
Right? For me, I think it's just getting to know them over time. I don't think there's one question that I could ask someone to know that they're able to do that. And I can't think of the question, but maybe I should. But usually within the first 6 months, are people open? Like, are they curious about life? Like, are they excited to talk to other humans? Do they really want to step outside their own selves and get to know other people to be able to like provide that service to them, you know, rather than like, there are definitely a lot of DJs out there, like, this is my set list and I'm not going off of it. And I'm like,
that is a true thing.
I mean, I will literally, reverb out of a song and drop something in, and it's not in phrase and it's not on beat, but like, that's what they want, and the crowd went wild. But that doesn't fit the typical DJ world, because like, if you don't mix it on beat, in phrase, or like whatever, you're like not a good DJ, you know?
That's weird. So have you run into, in your time being a DJ and starting RDJ Rocks, have you run into a lot of issues? Obviously, as you said, you, as a female, were underrepresented in this field and still are arguably underrepresented in this field. Have you run into a lot of negativity?
All the time. Still,
to this day? Is that something that you, or is it lessening with time?
It is lessening with time. You know, in the very beginning, there was zero respect at all. I would go to conferences and my husband would be standing next to me, and, you know, passing in conversation, people would automatically look at him and start talking to him about microphones. And he's like, I don't even know what you're even talking about. She's the DJ, not me, you know? And so it was as if I didn't even exist in the world. And so, you know, for me, I was like, oh, heard. Okay, got you. And so
Word. Got it.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I put my head down and I just hustle. And I think that no matter what in life, everyone should follow that rule no matter what. But I mean, maybe there's a certain point in time, maybe it's now, maybe I don't know. But at a certain point in time, it did start to lessen. So
what advice would you give to someone? Again, this is something I've asked something similar of the Sound Girls when they were here. What was advice you would give someone who maybe it's not in the DJ space, maybe it's not in the sound space, but what would you say for a female that's trying to break into a male dominated industry? What would be some pointers that you would give them, or something in your experience that would help them?
So I think first and foremost, you have to lead with your brain first. Period. Because I think as females in this industry, you're going to be looked at a certain way, and that just is what it is, and you can't take that personally. You just have to know that like, you are capable, you are smart enough, and you can do this. And so as long as you lead with that first, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not as easy as just walking in and like, hey, let's have beers. You know what I mean? Like, you can't lead with that, you know? You have to continually prove yourself, and prove your worth. And then when you do, and you keep your head down and you hustle and you do it, and the accolades are there, there's nothing that anyone can say to you. The proof is in the pudding.
So I want to pivot from that to, how much fun do you have?
Oh my God, so much fun.
Do you love what you do truly and deeply?
I am obsessed with what I do.
What keeps you coming back? What's the thing that about this specifically? Because I've recently undergone a change. I used to be a night owl and be in bars playing music and hosting trivia and doing bingo and stuff, and I've now become a 9 to 6er, and it's horrible. Mm-hmm. But it's what is normal for the world. What keeps you here? What keeps you in this space?
Variety, learning, talking to people, being inspired by people who maybe are in your industry, but like not in your industry, but like kind of in your industry. But it really is it's the continual learning. It's nonstop, you know, like never in my life would I have ever thought that I would even DJ on turntables. And like, I touched a turntable and I was like, you know what I mean? Like, and that, you know, do I want to do that and like buy a set of turntables? Who knows? You know what I mean? But it keeps me on my toes. And then just, you know, being around like-minded individuals who think like you and are inspired by the same things as you, and, you know, maybe they love this genre and you love that genre, and then somehow you fuse those together, and then like magic happens on the dance floor. You're like, oh my God. You know what I mean? Is that
the best endorphin buzz that you can?
Yes.
Is nobody and then everybody?
Yes. There's absolutely nothing like it. And so to be able to do that and to do it really, really well, it is all about the atmospheric vibes and the way things sound and feel. And you have to do that with like a really great room and really great AV and audio and sound and, you know, all the five senses, all of them.
That's awesome.
That's literally what keeps me going. That's my fire.
I just want to hang out when you're doing stuff now. I just want to be your hype man. If that
can we? I love that for me.
I can absolutely be a hype man.
Yeah.
I was basically that for Craig for like 7 years.
Okay.
That was literally pretty much all I did.
Cool. Let's go.
Perfect. I can jump around to the song Jump Around. It's perfect.
Yes.
It's So what is one of the moments that happened to you in this space where I know I asked you already about when you were like, oh, this is a thing. What was something where you were like, this is the coolest thing that's ever happened to me and I'm so excited to tell everyone about it? Because we talked about your low and you said September was like, okay, I'm gonna lose my mind. What was your high? What was the thing that happened? Who was the person you met? What was the DJ moment that happened where you were like, this is the greatest moment of my life?
Ooh, I love this question. Okay, so I feel like I have so many of those, but I am...
If you need to top 5 it, we can do a top 5.
Well, okay, I mean, maybe, but the first one ever, and what makes me smile in this current moment is... when I was like, okay, you know what, guys, like we need a video. Like we need a team video of like our tribe. Cause like I love these chicks that are around me. Like let's make a video. So we went on the rooftop in downtown Orlando. We made a video. Sparky Lars are flying, blah, blah, blah. And it was that video that got me recognition from like my first DJ crush, which was Joe Bunn. And it wasn't, a couple months later or whatever, I was in Chicago. I was at a DJ conference and like Joe Bunn walks up to me and is like, I saw your video. Do you want to go have like lunch real quick? And I'm like, what? I'm trying not to fangirl or whatever. And so had lunch.
A little bit of sweat. There was just
just had like a great conversation. Cause sometimes whenever you're in these industries, you have these icons and you're like, oh my God, untouchable. They're like the bomb. Like, I want to be like them, blah, blah, blah. And so, never had I ever saw someone in the wedding DJ event space who did the marketing that he did. And I can connect to that because of what I do for our DJ Rocks. And so, fast forward, Hamilton was in town.
Yeah,
in Chicago,
great
and it was
show.
like, what do you do for like Broadway shows? I totally faked it. He thought I knew everything, and I didn't know crap. I was texting people on the side like, this guy likes Hamilton. How do I get tickets? Because like he wants to go, and like, you know what I mean? Like it's like you like
hook me up, please.
You bid or something.
Yeah.
Well, whatever. Something.
It was like a raffle.
Auction,
raffle. Yeah.
I don't really know, but whatever they do in Broadway.
Essentially, you like put your name in a hat, and then they like pull it out, and they're like, oh,
yep,
it's Jeff.
Correct.
Jeff has tickets.
Yep, correct. So like Kristin got tickets, went to dinner with Joe Bunn, and then watched Hamilton. I love you, Joe. If you're listening.
Joe, I also love you. I don't know why, but I do.
Yeah.
How was Hamilton? Did you like that?
Oh my God, it was so good.
So good.
It was phenomenal. That it sucks for the rest of Broadway that was my first show.
Oh yeah, everything is going to
yes.
be way
Correct.
weird from that. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not.
I mean, I came out the gate and set the bar way high.
You'll like In the Heights, which is Lynn's other Broadway, but the movie's coming out on HBO next week, 2 weeks, something like that.
I probably should just watch the Broadway.
The Broadway is probably better.
Yeah.
But In the Heights is still good.
Okay.
It's funny. It's a good time.
Okay.
But no, thank you for sitting down and chatting with me about all things My DJ Rocks, our DJ Rocks, everything QSC, everything you. I feel like I get to know you so much better now.
Yep.
And I have basically a handshake deal to be a hype man.
Correct.
So that's enough for me.
Yep.
Is there anything else you'd like to leave the people with?
Nope. I love you, people. I love you. Thanks for having me.
It has been a pleasure. Our DJ Rocks, check them out, and thank you for coming on Sound Connections.
Yep. Any questions, holler at me at our DJ Rocks or at me, Kristin, on Instagram.
See you guys next time. And that does it for another episode of Sound Connections. I would like to thank Mainline Marketing and Shure for sponsoring the podcast. I would also like to thank Kristin Wilson of RDJ Rocks for coming out and speaking with us, making our next Sound Connection. Guys, don't forget to subscribe to us wherever it is you listen to podcasts and let us know who you think is the next Sound Connection we should make. We appreciate it, and we will see you guys all here next time.